We'll call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals. Would you please stand for the pledge? Jerry, would you lead us in pledge, please? Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call roll, please.
Here.
Joe Crowell.
Here.
Jerry Sartain. Here. Joe Machotto.
Here.
Michael Rather. Here. Zane Cantrell.
Present.
We do have a quorum, sir, and a
Okay,
show.
all regular members are present, and we'll be voting on the items before us. You have the minutes of our last meeting. Do you have any changes or corrections? Do we have a motion that be approved? So moved, Mr. Chairman. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. We don't have any old business or anything on the agenda at this time, so we'll move right into our agenda for this evening. And let me remind those of you that are here, we will have a report from our staff on each item that's before the board, and then following that, we'll ask those of you who have a request before us to come to the podium and give us any other information that you might have. Following that, we will have a public hearing on each item and give any of you a chance to make whatever comments to the board. And then at the close of that, we will give a decision on each item. So thank you for being here. The first item is a request by Surefire Fireworks. What do we have on that?
Okay, application 2010-12 filed by Surefire Fireworks involves the property located at 6044 Lebanon Pike. It's a 1.6 acre parcel that's located within the residential and wholesale trade zone district. They are seeking conditional use permit to allow the temporary sale of fireworks in the retail and wholesale trade zone. This is a reoccurring application you get I've processed for the last 3 years. We've had no problems with this particular location or this particular applicant operating their fireworks stand from this location. All of the hours of operation, days per week, and then number of employees will remain the same. And the site is already developed as a convenience store and gas station. So these are photos of the site that the fireworks stand will be located on across the street, just shots across the street. And we posted the sign on the property. And looking towards Murfreesboro. And this is the site plan showing the location of the tent and the site circulation, and the existing parking areas will serve the proposed use. That concludes staff's recommendations or findings, and we included some conditions for the board to consider, and that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Give us your name and any additional information you might want to share with the board.
My name is Tandy Walpole, and we're just asking permission to sell there from June 20th through July 5th.
Now, this would be when would your tent go up?
The tent we'd start selling on the 20th of June.
20th of June.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And you feel like you have adequate parking out there? That's
yes.
Really a busy intersection.
It is a busy, yes,
That's
sir.
That's probably why you're there.
Yes, sir. There's additional parking behind the building, and typically we've never had any problems with parking there before.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. We have a motion on it.
I move we approve it.
Have a motion that be approved. We have a second.
Was that Joe Machado that made the motion?
The two Joes.
The microphone's on. Yours is on?
Speak up really loud then.
Okay.
You didn't know mine wasn't on either, did you? Okay. You got it turned on? Okay. We'll get it checked, but we'll continue.
I'll try to speak louder.
I do need to verify because I show that all voting members are present, but one of the alternates made the motion, so. Oh, that's what I asked before, and somebody said that we didn't have one.
Oh,
We
I
don't
thought
have
you
an
were-
alternate yet.
Right.
Gotcha, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
my mistake.
They're
My
both
mistake.
they're both members
Okay,
now.
Gotcha. Sorry, missed it a month, last month messed me up.
Okay.
Okay.
You
I'm
got
ready.
it now? All right. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Michael's not voting now.
and Zane.
Both Joes. Did you call both? All right.
Yes, I got both of them. Zane
Okay.
Cantrell.
Yes. It is approved.
Carried.
Okay. The next item is a request by Joe McCrary, who is, this is from Select Sign Services.
Application 2011-13 filed by Joe McCrary of Select Sign Service involves the property located at 7277 Lebanon Pike. It is the Church of Christ at Walter Hill. It's located in a residential 15 district, and they are seeking variance relief to allow an internally illuminated sign located in the R15 zone. Currently, our new regulations only allow those non-residential properties in residential districts to have external illumination without having to go before the board for a variance. It was felt that internal illumination in residential districts would not be appropriate. However, along with the new sign regulations that were passed last year, we also included additional criteria because our criteria now that we use for all types of variances didn't necessarily address those that might affect signs. So we've tailored the criteria for variances for signage as well, and that's this is our first request under the new regulations. Although the sign itself does not meet the criteria for a variance, it may meet some of those criteria that is established under the new sign regulations. However, all they want to do is use the existing monument base that's out there. They received a variance back in 2005 for a plywood sign, and the variance was for external illumination. What they want to do now is install a sign that is protected from the weather, that doesn't weather like plywood, vandal protection for the letters, and it would be guarded, and the sign would also be on the timer. It was for ease of maintenance, and staff does not find that approval of the variance would be detrimental to adjacent properties or the surrounding area. However, it doesn't meet the established criteria for variances. And I will just go through some photos of the site, and I will show you the existing sign. This is a site across the street, other homes across the street. It's a busy highway. And then the existing sign. So they're not really changing the size of the sign. I mean, it's going to use the existing base. And that is the scaled conceptual drawing of the sign. And that concludes staff's
Do we
presentation.
have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please.
My name is Joe McCrary. I'm with Select Sign Services, representing the church. Basically, I'm here because a mistake was made. I wasn't aware that internal illumination was not allowed with the new ordinance. I know that, like she said, the church wants to update the non-illuminated sign to illuminated sign, which would look a lot more presentable. Also, we'll have vinyl covers over the reader board part, which no one can change the letters. That will be locked. And a time clock will also be installed, and it can that way it'll be cut off at a certain time.
Have any questions?
I think you answered my question. You were just talking about it was going to be set on a timer for the hours of
Yes.
operation.
That way, originally, before I found out it couldn't be illuminated, it was going to be on a photo cell, which will burn all night.
Right.
Now it's going to be moved to a timer, which will be cut off at a decent time,
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
whatever time that would be requested.
Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing.
I just got one more question. Daniel, do we, in the past, do we need to set a time period or for that?
If you find that that's necessary, there's nothing in our regulations that would affect the time. But if you would feel more comfortable and the applicant is okay with it, there's nothing wrong with setting a time.
No, I just know you were going to take it off the photo cell. I just, have
Yes,
it on a
it's
timer.
gonna
I
be
didn't
put on a
know if
timer.
we'd done that in, I don't even know if we'd done that in the past on the others. Anyway. I don't know if we have anybody representing church, but I'm just wondering if we put like about 10 p.m. or something like that on. I want to make that.
That will be fine. We can do
Oh,
that.
Okay. I'm going to make that part of I'd like to make a motion we approve and just put that timer be set to,
With the time limit.
To
for
be
the
cut off
time
at
limit.
10.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second? Have a second. Call roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Cartang,
Yes.
Van Tassel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, it is approved. The next item, we have a request by Jason and Amy Ladd, who is requesting a conditional use permit to establish an agritourism operation and also relief from the parking area.
I just want to clarify, did we open the last one for public hearing?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
Sure did.
Okay. Application 2010-14, filed by Jason Ladd, and Amy Ladd, involves the property located at 4374 Rocky Glade Road. It's a 57-acre farm located within a residential 15 zone. They are seeking a conditional use permit to establish an agritourism operation and a variance relief from the development standard requiring double bituminous parking areas in the R15 zone. Originally, the Ladds appeared before you 2 years ago asking for a corn maze and pumpkin patch operation, and they received approval. The business operated under the conditions that were established by the board, and we received no complaints. The applicant would like to establish the same use again for this year, as well as offer the farm tours on a more frequent basis and open to the public. The applicant would also like the ability to offer the property up for as a wedding venue or corporate event venue, picnic or family reunion, or even birthday parties at the site. They've included, and you will see in your staff report, the hours of operation that they are proposing. Staff has a concern with the number of events that would maybe take place at the site, that it might become more intense and affect the surrounding area. That's why one of our conditions recommends that the non-educational trips, visits that are associated with like weddings and corporate events would be limited to a certain number per month. We don't feel that the educational visits from schools should be affected by it, because it is teaching kids about agritourism or agricultural uses. As far as the parking variance is concerned, this is a rural area. The use is not your typical commercial operation, or traffic is not predictable. So we are recommending that the variance, if you approve this application, be approved as well, because it does meet the criteria for a variance. The parking area now is asphalt, gravel, and so that's dust-free. That can create a dust-free situation. The applicant has also requested a 2-year approval. Instead of having to come before you every year, they would like to get a 2-year approval. So even though staff didn't include that in the recommended conditions, that's one thing that the applicant has requested that you can consider. And these are just photos of the site and surrounding area. We posted the sign at the property. And this is a site plan that the applicant provided. You can see the locations of the different areas designated for play and the farm animals, the pumpkin patch. And that is the aerial shot of the property, and that concludes our presentation.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Do you have any other? Give us your name and any other information.
Yes, my name is Amy Ladd, and my husband and I are seeking approval for the agritourism operation for another 2 years. We've been in operation for 2 years. It's a great opportunity for a local community. We do provide several local jobs, so we're trying to help stimulate and grow Eagleville and the local economy. We aren't seeking to open a theme park or anything like that. I definitely can understand your concerns with having special events more than a few times a month. We have had several families contact us. They like to bring their kids out to the farm for birthday parties and things like that. They enjoy seeing the animals, going on a hayride, things of that nature. We have had requests in the past to do more of an old-fashioned wedding out on a farm. And we've had lots of interest recently in several of our local area businesses coming out to the farm to do company picnics, things like that. Let kids just get out and run wild and learn about animals and, again, all the fun that's available out on the farm.
Have any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ms. Ladd, are y'all going to have a similar operation that's kind of familiar with the Walden Farms?
Yes, we've had the similar. We've been similar to Walden Farms for the last 2 years, and we're not really seeking to grow anything other than to make it available a little bit more regular in the spring, and summertime. For kids to come out maybe on a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Okay, will y'all be doing like them? I know they do field trips for schools and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. We've done field trips for the past 2 years. We get lots of schools from our local, from Rutherford County, but we also bring them in from lots of surrounding counties too.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jerry?
Ms. Ladd, I noticed your application talks about from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. What do you do in the wintertime when it's after dark? What happens?
That's a great question. We stretched on the application, obviously we stretched the hours to what we felt like might be the earliest somebody might want to come or the latest. They could easily put up a tent like you would at any other outdoor event for the day and bring in outside lighting if they wanted to that would be generated by the power would be generated by a generator. So that would be completely up to the person who wanted to.
Would that encroach upon your neighbors that way? It is residential.
Actually, no. All of our neighbors are completely surrounded by woods, so there is a barrier. You'll notice that if you looked at any of the pictures she showed you, you really don't see any of our events, but we have a permanent playground set up already with slides and a recycled playground with tires, and our hayride goes through the woods, so there's no exposure to any neighbors at all. Very limited.
Do you have existing external lighting that is on at night?
No, we do not. Only on our barn do we have the external lighting. We're actually having a new barn that's not related to this put in, and it's going to, the power company is going to install some lighting that is similar to that you find along the roadside, which would actually light up our little parking area also. So just like you would find on any residential street, that roadside lighting they're installing.
Joe?
About how many places do you have to be able to park? You know how many cars you can park roughly?
We have in permanent, well, not permanent, but in gravel parking, we have enough room for about 20 cars. And then in our reserve parking area, it's approximately 3 acres.
Okay.
So, and we figure we allow maybe 3 people per vehicle is what we kind of established when we were cordoning that off. Yes, sir.
Joe Crowell?
Okay. So in the spring, we have an Easter egg hunt in the spring, and then they could visit the farm for the petting area and the park area and hay rides during the summer on those availables that are open to the general public, much like your family might visit like your local zoo, although not anywhere on that type of scale. And then for special events, if we had a company that contacted us and said, you know, we'd like to bring our company out and reward our employees this in June, and so they would bring their employees out maybe on a Sunday afternoon, and the employees could bring their family out, and they would just enjoy a day out on the farm. And any time that, you know, those people would be out and available, the petting area, the hay rides, and the playground would all be available to those folks. Our busiest time of the year is September, the end of September through October, and that's when we have the pumpkin patch and corn maze. But other times of year, we don't expect large crowds at all.
Any other questions? Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. Do we have a motion on it?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve based on the stipulations that the staff has put upon it, and also for the 1 year that they asked for.
Okay.
For the 1 year that staff recommended.
Okay. And the current recommended conditions are limiting to the non-educational events to 1 per month. Is that what?
Is that not your recommendation?
That is our recommendation.
That's part of the requirements that you've already written in there.
Those are the recommended conditions.
Okay. It's in there. Do we have a second to it?
I second it.
Got a Joe Machado, second. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 It's working. Yes. The next item we have is a request by Linda Bosher, who is requesting a variance for a reduction in the front yard setback.
Application 2011-15, filed by Linda Bochar, involves the property located at 124 Zoe Court. It's a half-acre parcel located in a residential 15 zone. She is seeking variance relief for the reduction of a front yard setback requirement of 40 feet to 20 feet for a property located in an R15 zone. Ms. Bochar would like to construct a detached garage on her property. She has a corner lot in the Harvest Grove subdivision section 2. As you can see on the aerial, her lot, being a corner lot, is subject to 2 front yards and 2 side yards. The front yard requirement is 40 feet. Detached accessory structures cannot be located within the front yard. Therefore, she is appearing before the board for variance requests. Just to give you an idea, this staff looked at all of the lots within this particular section of Harvest Grove, and apart from one other lot, which is an interior lot, she has the most narrow lot within the subdivision. And our regulations require that when someone is platting property, subdividing it, that corner lots are provided additional land area to accommodate that a second front yard requirement. That's not the case in Ms. Bochar's request. She does not have enough room to place a detached structure on the property. We find that her request meets the criteria for a variance. There is a remaining portion of the property that's located to the rear. However, that is used for septic soils, so she can't encroach upon that area as well. So she has unusual characteristics that are not that are unique compared to the other properties within the subdivision and the zoning district, as well as there are factors that affect the property, such as the location of the septic soils, that prevent her from placing it in a compliant manner. So staff recommends approval, and I'll just go through some photos. We've received phone calls on the proposed request. There was some concern about what she was going to construct the garage out of. And I did contact the applicant, and she indicated that she was going to match the existing facade of the existing dwelling unit. And surrounding properties across the street. And a site plan that was provided by the applicant to give you an idea. She will be entering, the garage will be constructed on the Hickman Avenue frontage. And we just included, and I passed it out for you guys to see her lot in comparison with all the other lots. And keep in mind, an interior lot that is not a corner lot only has to provide 2 side yards, 1 front yard, and a rear yard. So those corner lots definitely have additional regulations attached to them. And that's why a developer would be sensible by platting additional land area and not try to squeeze as many lots as they'd like. So that concludes our presentation.
Okay. Do we have anyone here representing this request? Just give us your name and any additional information you have.
My name is Linda Boshar. We bought the house about 5.5 years ago. We didn't realize that lot that there was going to be a variance on it. We had somebody come out and stake it to build a garage and found out we couldn't do it. So we tried possibly moving. That's not an option. As you all know, the market's not really good right now. And we have some toys, some cars and such that we just need the extra room, and we're paying extra storage right now to store some of the items that we can't put in our garage or anywhere else. And the storage is in Nashville, so it's kind of a burden for us. And like Danielle said, yeah, we do plan to match the materials close as possible to the brick that's on there now and the pitch of the roof and all that.
Okay. Any questions?
And would you go with the same material to your house if you're going to match your house?
Yes.
Joe?
Do you have enough room to make a turnaround to come in there with your present driveway?
Oh, I'm not sure what you mean turnaround, like.
In other words, are you going to have enough room to get into that garage?
Oh, absolutely. If you can pull that drawing up that we did. Because our driveway obviously comes off of Hickman right now, and we could either drive straight into the garage like we do now, or you can just turn left. It'll be plenty of room. That's not going to be our permanent garage. That's just going to be more of, just to put our cars and our play cars, our toys.
Okay.
So it won't be used, daily like a regular garage.
Are you putting a second story on top of the garage, or is it just?
We don't know yet. It really depends on the price. We have to get a couple of estimates. We were waiting for this.
No apartments, what I'm getting at.
What's that?
It's not going to be an apartment there.
No, gosh, no. If anything, it'll be extra storage up there if we do put a second story, but it's not. We're not going to put a bathroom or anything like that. It'll just.
Keep in mind, if you do propose additional storage area and provide like a stairway to a second floor, that square footage would be calculated, and if you trip that 1,200 square foot requirement, you may be required to obtain another variance.
Okay, didn't know that, but okay. Sorry. We'll make sure it doesn't.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. Do we have a motion on it?
I'll make a motion to be approved.
Have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second? Have a second. Joe Crowell. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, it is approved. The next item we have is a conditional use permit for special events and a variance relief on the parking.
Application 2011-16, filed by Sarah T. Nelson, involves the property located at 455 West Jefferson Pike. It's a 106-acre parcel which operates as a farm and house site, and it's located within the residential 15 zone. The applicant is seeking conditional use permit approval for special events and variance relief from the development standard requiring double bituminous parking areas in the R15 zone. The applicant would like to obtain a conditional use permit just for the months of April through October. These will be outdoor events that will be held on the property. Nothing would take place within inside the residential structure there. The applicant has, even though we repeatedly state one event per month, she is only operating April through October, and she is seeking approval for the possibility of having events twice per month. The ability to hold them. The proposed hours will not be before 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. It depends on whenever her clients want to hold the event. However, she says that none of the events will exceed 5 hours, although you will have employees on site setting up the event, like tents and food and catering. As far as facilities, restroom facilities, they will hire temporary bathroom facilities and to serve those events. She has provided a parking area, which she is seeking approval to not have to pave it because it's still a farm. They want to keep it and it's a farm-like appearance, and it's not a use that would be used every day where you would need to provide parking. However, it would be a dust-free with the gravel parking. So this is a photo of the house, and the events would take place to the side, that open area to the side, and just surrounding properties. It's close, the site's close to the location where Jefferson and Lebanon meet or intersect. We posted a sign on the property, and if you can just get an idea of where the parking areas are located on site, we've zoomed in. The parcel is extremely large, so we had to zoom in and give you the approximate areas of where the events would take place. Maybe a tent might be set up, and then where she would have parking. And that is the overall aerial, and that concludes our presentation.
Okay, do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll give us your name and just pass it on there.
Members of the commission, my name is Sarah Tarpley Nelson. I've always gone by Sally. I was born and raised on the farm at 455 West Jefferson Pike in Walter Hill. My family continues to farm this land as they have for over 100 years. I have applied for a conventional use permit for weddings and special events during the months of April through October. All events will be outdoor venues on the grounds around the antebellum home at 455 West Jefferson Pike. Our farm was the home place of Civil War Colonel Anderson Searcy, my great-great-grandfather. The main part of the house was built in 1830. Colonel Searcy occupied the home from 1870 until his death. It's remained in our family since then. We feel that the property has historic significance to Rutherford County. In order to preserve and maintain its significance, it's necessary for us to generate income for the maintenance of this property. We believe that the ambiance of this property will draw interest from the public for the use of weddings and special events. I'm asking the Commission to approve its use for 1 to 2 events per month during the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Hours will vary during this time frame depending on the times our clients desire. All events will most likely be weekend venues limited to 100 people. We have held 1 family wedding, which those are pictures, and 2 family funeral receptions, all of which have drawn interest from many wishing to use the facility for similar functions. We feel that the use of the property for such events would be an asset to the community. We're in the process of having the home and surrounding grounds put on the National and Tennessee Historic Registers through MTSU. The State Review Board will consider our nomination on May 18, 2011. Bev McSherry, who is a local interior designer and wedding planner, resides in the home full-time. She and I will be partners on this venue. We have on-site parking for 60 cars with expansion for more if necessary. We ask that the Zoning Commission consider our proposal. Thank you.
Any questions? Seems like these are 2 items that we've had. It seems like a lot of folks are looking for new ways to make
That's
a
what we've
living.
discovered. That's what we've discovered. That there's a lot of interest in. There's a lot of interest in
Right.
kind of farm venues too.
It's better than making cupcakes, right?
Right.
I just wanted one clarification. I think originally she had asked for 1, but now she wants to be able to do at least 2 events.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to do, we've kind of put the pencil to the numbers, and we may need to do 2.
I understand.
Thank you. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. We have a motion on it. Have a motion that be approved.
I have a question. I have a
We
question.
have a second. Got a second.
No, I have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Does your recommendations come with a time limit for the permit?
That's another thing.
It would be considered a yearly permit.
Well, see, we are kind of just in the process of getting started with this, so I don't really know at this time how many weddings we're going to be able to book, because people book so far ahead for weddings. And so maybe if I could get a 2-year to start with, that'd be good.
Keep in mind, this particular request does not have all the other types of uses associated with it, and it's limited to the weekends, according to the applicant. The other one was open many days a week and open to the public. Also, it involved those seasonal uses that require an annual operation permit for corn mazes and pumpkin patches. This is not being proposed by the current applicant.
Do you want to amend your motion for 2 years?
Well, I really didn't have the intention of doing that.
Okay.
I'll leave it 1 year. Somebody else.
Okay. We have a motion with 1 year,
Second.
and we have a second. Okay, we got a second. Call a roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes, it is approved. Thank you very much. The next item we have is a request by Naomi Johnson, who is requesting a conditional use permit for a Type B mobile home. If you'll give us.
Okay. Application 2011-17, filed by Naomi Johnson.
It's okay, you can remain there.
You're
That's
fine. Naomi Johnson. This involves the property located at 6867 Woodfin Road. It's a 5.68 acre parcel located in a residential 15 zone. She is seeking conditional use permit to allow a Type B mobile home, a single wide, as an accessory dwelling in the R15 zone. Ms. Johnson would like to place the 1,248 square foot single wide on her property for her elderly relative that needs someone to care for her but still have an independent living facility. The mobile home does have the same color siding, vinyl siding as the existing home. It's a shingled roof. Ms. Johnson, had discussed with staff and came in, and she meets all the requirements for accessory dwelling units, and then it was discovered that it was a Type B mobile home, and that automatically kicks it into the Type 2 process for the board to consider. She's got a 5.6 acre parcel. I believe she's already identified the soils on the property. She meets the setbacks. She is only appearing before you because she is her ADU is a Type B mobile home. And this is the site in question. It's highlighted in yellow, and then we've taken photos. We've posted the sign on the property. That is her house that you will see, and surrounding properties. It's quite rural out here off of Woodfin Road. Across the street, it looks just like woods. There's not really anyone directly across the street from her that you can see. Surrounding homes are mostly constructed homes. The scale of that red block is not the scale of the single wide. It's just showing you the approximate area where the single wide will be placed on the property. And staff recommends approval of the request, and that concludes our presentation.
Give us your name now and any additional information.
I'm Naomi Summer Johnson. I'm sorry I came up early. I misunderstood. I also have pictures of the mobile home, if you need them, that's going to be there. My elderly aunt is 92, and she is a widow with no children of her own. She is basically in a hardship position of having to go into a nursing home or me move her home to my home where I can watch after her. She is been a caretaker for many, many people over the years, and she is the last of her generation in our family. So we very much would like to put her where she can keep her dignity and her privacy in her own home, but where I'm there to take care of her. So we respectfully ask for approval from the board.
Do you have the mobile home yet? Have you purchased it yet?
My aunt owns the mobile home, but she's in a location where she is isolated from the rest of the family, and she doesn't have the money to move into something else.
So you want to move her?
I want to move her mobile home to my property, and it would be done very nicely. The electric lines would be buried. The water will come off my tap. I already talked to the water company. They said you don't have to get a new tap. She can tap off of mine. I will have to get a new electric meter, but it will be buried cables. The home will be on concrete footers, and it will be underpinned with concrete block. And it's a 2-bedroom. It's a nice mobile home. The siding is exactly like mine.
Have the environmental people looked at this?
My understanding, when I went 3 times to zoning, and they were very helpful, is they said get your septic permit first. The soil test has been done. The septic test has been done. The state's been out, and I've got my septic permit. Because my septic tank is in my front yard, so it would be impossible for me to tie her into mine. And actually, where that red building is a little bit forward. I was actually going to set it back more even with my 30 by 30 metal building right in there.
What do you plan on doing with this building once it's no longer needed by your elderly aunt?
I can sell it and take the money and give it to my elderly.
You don't plan on renting it?
Oh, no. I have no intentions of renting this out in any form or fashion, no.
Okay.
You know, if I could keep it there for my own son while he went to college, but if the board says I can't, I'll sell it. I'll do whatever I need to do to be able to take care of her.
Any questions? Joe?
You wouldn't have an objection with us adding a stipulation that it has to be removed whenever your aunt dies?
No,
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on it. If you'll come forward, please give us your name and any information you'd like to have.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Barrett, and I live 2 doors down from Mrs. Johnson. I live at 6803 Woodfin Road. It's nice for what Mrs. Johnson is doing. I've helped people myself for 35 and a half years. I've risked my life doing it. I have no objection about her putting the trailer in there to take care of her aunt, as long as it's her aunt that's living there. No other family members to be living there, as far as I'm concerned. Now, if she needs help, that's fine. And I would like stipulation on it at the death of her aunt for the trailer to be removed within a 90 to 120 day period, because I have to go out and I will be looking at it. So I thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If you'll please come around. Give us your name and anything else that you have to say.
I'm Joe Stallings. I live next door to Ms. Johnson. I live at 6891 Woodfin Road. And I just want to say that I have no problem with the trailer moving in there, as long as whenever that the person she's bringing it in for, her aunt, leaves the area that, or departs the area, that the trailer will be moved.
Right. So you don't object to the aunt using it?
I don't object to the aunt.
Once that's through, you'd like for it to be removed?
Yes, no one else.
Well, she has indicated that, so
okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Yes, I'm William Bennett. I live on 6791 Woodfin Road, 3 houses down. I don't have any problem with her moving the trailer in as long as it's removed as the aunt goes. You know, it's a nice area, and as long as the trailer goes as aunt.
Thank you,
All right,
sir.
thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Marjorie Hire, and I am Naomi Johnson's aunt. And ever since my husband died years ago, I have lived alone. And the trailer that I'm putting up there, I've lived in it for several years alone. I don't want anybody living with me, and I will not have anyone living with me. I will have a visitor once in a while, but that's very seldom that anyone comes to spend the night. I like my privacy, and I don't have a car to drive, and don't throw any wild parties. And I'll just tell you right now, I'm a Christian. I belong to the Baptist Church, and you know how we Baptists are. We just don't put up with a lot of foolishness. The ones I know don't.
Thank you so much. And maybe your neighbors will come visit you if this is approved.
Neighbors?
Yes.
Well, I'm very particular about neighbors.
Anyone else? Yes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Watch that step.
I should have stayed over. I'm sorry. It's very, very difficult to find someone who can put the axles and wheels on mobile homes and move them these days, unless you're buying a brand new mobile home. And it's very, very expensive. So I'm asking that I be allowed at least 6 months to sell and move the mobile home when my aunt no longer requires the use of it, because it took me 90 days to find someone who could move it for me. And I think 90 to 100 days is just asking a little too short a
But
time.
you're willing to move this as soon as it's no longer needed?
Yes, sir. But I have to be able to have time to find someone to do it, because the gentleman that's doing it for me is retired, and it was, begging to get that moved.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd just like to make a commentary, and why so much emphasis has been put on this is because in the past, we've had approval of this, and we've had where people's turned these properties into rental property. So that's why we're in R15 zones and having having two residents on one plot. So I just want to make sure you understand.
I do understand.
It's nothing personal against you. We've just had these cases in the past, and we want to try to.
I'm doing my best to raise 2 children on my own. I don't need anybody else to take care of.
Okay, I just want to make sure you understand.
I
Yes, ma'am.
understand.
Any other questions?
I think, just for the general public, I think what everybody needs to understand is what we try to do is try to keep from, if she sells the place, and try to keep from something turning into rental property. And I know the neighbors don't appreciate something like that, and that's what we try to do when we add stipulations like this. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Anyone else? Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that it be approved and that we do have the stipulation that when the aunt no longer resides at this residence, that it be moved. And it just be removed as quickly, I guess, as she could get someone to do it. Yeah. No longer than a 6-month period.
Time limit no longer than 6 months. Okay.
Second.
Second? Got a second. Call roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll. Yes. Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes. It
Motion
is
carries.
approved. Do we have anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. We stand adjourned. Thank you. Thank all of you.